Now, the Prime Minister has made a direct appeal to teachers, urging them to keep schools open during the coronavirus pandemic. Scott Morrison says learning from home is not an option for all students, especially those who are vulnerable. Political reporter Jade MacMillan joins us now from Parliament House in Canberra. Jade, g'day. So just what exactly has Scott Morrison had to say?
Well, the Prime Minister insists, as he has done right throughout this crisis, that the medical advice to the government hasn't changed and it is safe for schools to be open. He says that the education of Australian children hangs in the balance as the nation responds to coronavirus, and he's used social media to make a direct appeal to teachers. He says that while it might not be possible for all of them to teach in a classroom as they normally would if they have higher risk factors, he says the majority are needed, and that learning online from home just isn't an option for all students, especially if their parents need to physically attend work, or if they're from disadvantaged or vulnerable households and simply won't get the education that they need at home.
These children need you for our schools to remain open. They need you as our great teachers, more than ever. We cannot allow a situation where parents are forced to choose between putting food on the table through their employment to support their kids and their kids' education. And I know teachers don't want to force those choices onto parents either. Because if we do, of course, thousands of jobs would be lost, livelihoods forsaken.
And so, Jay, the schools issue is one that there's probably been the most discussion around in terms of how this is being handled by the states and territories and the kind of perceived disagreements between what the federal government and the states and territories are saying. What kind of reaction has there been to this morning?
Well, you're right, this has been an incredibly controversial issue throughout this pandemic. This message from the Prime Minister comes ahead of tomorrow's National Cabinet meeting and also coincides with the beginning of Term 2 in Victoria, where parents have been told to keep their children home if they can. Now, we haven't heard from the Victorian Government today as yet, but in New South Wales, the Premier Gladys Berejiklian was asked about this morning. She said that discussions about Term 2 in that state are underway and that she would like to see more face-to-face learning as the term progresses. The federal opposition, though, has accused the Prime Minister of confusing the issue. The Shadow Education Minister, Tanya Plibersek, says that this is already an incredibly stressful time for parents. She says that everyone wants to see kids back at school as soon as it's safe, but she argues that the Prime Minister is saying one thing while you've got different messages coming from some of the state governments. She says parents and teachers just want clear information.